And we continue Dirshu Mishna Berurah, beginning Hilchais Netilas Yadaim, beginning with the Simin Kof Nun Zayin, which is a little bit of an introduction to the Hilchas Netilas Yadaim, which the Mechaber coins Dine Zman Kvias Suda. The time you're supposed to eat, the time you're supposed to be Kaiveya Asuda. So says the Mechaber in Sif Aleph, Kshegia Shah Raviyas, when the fourth hour of the day comes, Yikba Sudasai, that is when you are supposed to have a Suda. Says the Mechaber, you're middle of learning, then Yamdanat Shah Shishis, you wait till the 6th hour of the day. You shouldn't wait more. Why? Because if you wait more than that amount of time, it's like throwing a stone into the pitcher. If you didn't eat anything in the morning. So says the Mishnah Berurah over here, says the Mishnah Berurah, this is a regular person. But a worker, a worker that's working, waits to the 5th hour. Revius, Sivkatan Bis, says the Mishnah Berurah. Where do you calculate Revius from? Mishnah Berurah says, when you get up early, then you count the 4 hours at the beginning of the day. If you get up after Amud HaShachar, so I guess that's probably more relevant. Okay, of course, there's always people that get up very, very early. So if you get up very, very early, you begin from the beginning of the day. If you get up afterwards, then it comes from the time that you get up at 7 o'clock, 4 hours later at 11, well, really 12, 7 o'clock, 8, 9, 10, 11, is the Zman of the Suda. Ad Shashishis is gotten Gimel Tamil Chacham. Hainu Tchila Shashishis is the beginning of the 6th hour. You should not delay more. Al Kopanim Misav Shashishis at the end of the 6th hour, which is basically Chatzos, considering a 12-hour day from 6 to 12. V'hai Sharavias v'Shashishis Ratzleim Zmani Yesim. Zman Shai Zmani Yesim, which of course makes this all a little bit more confusing. It doesn't just mean 6 hours later, but that's the basic ballpark. So you should always eat before the 6th hour of the day. Why? Because if not, it's like throwing an Evan Lachemas. If Katan Dalit says Mishmur Gon Chemas Yain Shachasar, like a pitcher of wine, a flask of wine which is lacking, a canteen. When you throw a rock in, it's going to destroy the container. But if you throw in it a stone when it's full, it doesn't do anything. Because it doesn't help a little bit of a rock inside the wine. So too, eating after the 6th hour does nothing for you. She more in the day than the night. And if you need, says Mishnah Berurah, you should eat 2 times a day. Don't stuff yourself 1 time. And like we know, the mon fell in the evening and in the morning. You should not cook food from day to day. And you should not save food from day to day. Why? You should daven every day for your food. And if you prepare food today for tomorrow, you're not going to daven tomorrow for your food because you have prepared. So just like the man, every day was its own man, so too, that's the way one should approach his meals. It's good to use the bathroom. Sivkatan hey. If you didn't eat anything in the morning, aval, if you ate something in the morning, meaning the issue to not have a suda before midday, we'll call it 6 hours into the day, is only if you didn't eat anything in the morning. But once you ate something in the morning, then it's not a problem. Near the nachon, like boy, suda b'shishes avim ta'amid b'safra, even if you ate something, shvikaveh suda 6 hours later. You should have a little bit of bread in the morning. Eat a little bit and went to shir. So let's see some of the Dirshu over here, some of these interesting halachais. And where is the Dirshu in Siman Kuf Nun Zayin? I don't have it in front of me. 1 second. Okay, before we go into Siman Kuf Nun Ches, let's just do this the old-fashioned way. Because when is this halacha relevant? We should point out one very important din. This is one of the big sources, Shabbos, Yom Tiv, Yom Narayim are around the corner, that one should try to eat his Suda before it comes midday. Before it comes midday. And that's really over here, Dirshu Nun number 1 points out, with regarding the Isser to fast on Shabbos, Shulchan Aruch and Reif Peichas says that the reason is because if you eat after that, it's considered Gavin L'Chemas, like we're seeing over here, and then it's considered like you fasted on the whole Shabbos. And over there it doesn't say that you count the 6 hours from when you get up. Meaning, over here it sounds like there's two shitas. Does 6 hours start from Amud HaShachar? Or does 6 hours start from when you get up out of bed? Which of course gives everyone a little bit more leeway. For example, on a Shabbos morning, you get up at 7 o'clock, 6 hours later is not till 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, you get up at 8 o'clock, etc. But over there in Reish Beches, it doesn't mention that in the time that you get up. Rather, it just says from Amud HaShachar. Dirshu over here makes note of the fact, which is just interesting, because the Magen Avram, which is the Makar of the Mishnah Berurah, is the one that says this thing when you get out of bed. And he says, let's wait to reach Vechas, to what we'll see over there. But one of the big Atirim, and of course over there it says, Eli Rabbah says, if you're learning and you're davening, there's Makkah to be Mekel to even after Chatzais. But another detail to mention is the Mishnah Berurah already sort of answered the question. Mishnah Berurah already said in Sifkot and Heiv, Ta'am Midi, if you eat a little bit, and this is really where it comes from, that the Pri Megadim in Dirshu Nun number 8 points out, what does it mean, Ta'am Midi? Does it mean that you ate a little bit of bread, or does it mean that you drank a little bit? Pri Megadim is mistapik, and that's really going to be the answer. That Shabbos morning, Rosh Hashanah morning, even if one knows he's going to be fasting until after Chatzais, if he's Ta'am Midi, now of course it doesn't mean to have a little bit of bread in the morning, but it means you had a cup of coffee, you had a cup of water. According to that sign of the Pri Megadim, then there would not be an issue. And with that, let's move on to the real Aschala. Well, I should say the real Aschala, because the Mechaber felt that was the Aschala. But the Aschala of actual Dinei, Netilas Yadaim L'Suda, Simin Kof Non Ches. Says the Mechaber Sifal, Kshiyavalech Pas, when you come to eat bread, Shemevarchen Alav HaMaitzi, bread, you're going to make a Maitzi on it, which of course, there are some breads which are not Maitzi. Then, Yital Yadav, you wash your hands. Even if you don't know that your hands are tamei. Like we just pointed out. But you don't make a maitzi. Keep going, for example, lachmani ois, stari toibelas, dakois, very thin bread, oy pasabal bekisnin, mizoinais, pirush pasasuyim sukari, yushkedim vegoizim. We have bread that you don't make a maitzi on. Ve'ino kaveas tudalehem. And you don't kaveh suda, which, by the way, that line in the Mechaber really tells half the story. The Mechaber just said, let's just use the word mizoynai spread. But then he threw in the line, kaveh suda, which of course, this is really the big, I don't want to call it a problem, but the big problem, that all these mizoynai breads, very good that they're quote unquote mizoynai bread, but if you're kaveh suda on them, then they're usually not mizoynai bread, which is the reason that according to almost all the Paiskim, in most of these scenarios, one should be washing. But that's for a different time, what bracha to make on those type of breads. But for now, we're dealing with the halacha of Netilas Yadaim. Says the Mishnah Berurah Sivkot and Aleph, Kishayavai, when you come, Tam Takonazach Netilu Mishnei Dvar. There are two reasons. And anyone who learned together with us, we gave Shir and Netilas Yadaim last year, but now we get to see inside. Says Mishnah Berurah, there are two reasons for the takana of Netilas Yadayim. Echad, number one, What does that mean? We know that our hands are always moving. And we touch everything. And at the time where they were noig tuma and taira, achlu truma, and when they were noig, they ate truma, and therefore they had to actually make sure their hands were tahar. So before they would eat, they would make sure to have to wash their hands to make sure that the bread or whatever truma they're eating would become tummy by touching. And so that the koyanim would be ragel bazeh. Gazu gamkin al kol ish Yisrael. We have to understand how far this takana goes. According to its first reason, the real reason we're washing our hands is not for me and you. I mean, maybe you're a kohen, I'm a Yisrael, but it's because Bisman Beis Hamikdash, when the kohanim would eat truma, they had to wash their hands because they might have touched something. So they made a gezerah dirabanan on every yid. Ha'ich pas she'aser lachli cannot eat ad she'ital yadav. V'gam achshav, and then they extended the gezerah she'ein kana meichlin truma. There's no kind of eating truma b'nei atama. Still loy balu takana zuk teishi regilim b'nei Yisrael. Such chizik we have over here, so that we should be accustomed. Why? What are we accustomed for? There's no Beis Hamikdash, there's no Truma. Kishayibane Beis Hamikdash Meirav Yameinu Lechol B'Taira. We should be accustomed to always eating B'Taira. Reason number one why we wash our hands. We just quickly are going to scroll down over here to the Shartzia and Sivkat and Aleph, and he says, "By Yadaim Maskani Yisayim," he quotes Rashi that you might have touched sweat, but the Rach and the Rambam, other poskim, says because of Toma. Ladina, says the Shartzian, Im Naga Bezeya Be'emsa Achila, Gam Kein Shich Netilas Shenis, a dinner we're going to have to get to in Tim Kuf Sadi Dalid. If in the middle of the meal you touch the covered area of the body, maybe an easier case, you change the diaper, whether you need to wash your hands again. So that is time number one, because the Koyahanim washed their hands for Truma. Therefore, we're all Klal Yisrael washes their hands, and even Bizman Hazeh. Continues the Mishna Berurah, V'ayitam the Takanas Netilas. Second reason, Mishum Nekiyas Ukedusha, because we want our hands to be holy. V'samchu beGemara Akrav Iskadishtem V'yisem Kedoshim. We're holy people. Everything we do is with Kedusha. Therefore, before we do a mundane action of eating, we wash our hands. Sivkat and Beis Lachol Pas V'chulu Afuki Al Peiros means not fruit. Come on, Sivhei, we'll get to that. The din of dipping fruit. But Am Lefi Sheroiva Truma L'Mimini Pas. Majority of Truma was from bread. T'chsev Reishes De Ganch. V'in Derech Lachol Mini Dagim Elachar Sheisimenu Pas. They only would eat grains after they made bread from it. Logazu Gamkin Netil El Beifin Zeh, which the Mishna Berurah over here just answered one of the $1 million questions. According to the whole reason that Netilas Yadaim was misakein because of Truma. Truma wasn't bread. Truma could have been anything. Truma could be fruits. So why Davko when we eat bread is where there's a din of Netilas Yadayim? Says the Mishnah Berurah, because of Roiv, because of the majority is made out of bread. And what about the second reason? The second reason that said because of Nikiyas, Shartzian and Sifkat and Gimel says, according to the second reason, because of Nikiyas, are Chleimer Nami. To like take Nalabaz Bishop Derech Kiviyas Suda Levnei Adav Lochash Nikiyas Kedusha Bachilas Harai. Also, that we only are cognizant of Kedusha when it comes to a proper Suda, and not when it comes to a snack by Achilas Harai. And we're going to finish up over here. Sifkatan Gimel Dalet Hey Vav. Here we go. Says Mishna Berurah Shavarchan Alav Hamaitzi. Delay take no ala bedavar shekavin suda alav when you kaveh suda. Yitel yadav Sifkatan Dalet. You see, we're having a little bit of audio issues. Yitel yadav Sifkatan Dalet. Says Mishna Berurah Shnei yadav, two hands. Ube kli, and with a kli. Va'af ameichel rak b'achas, even only with one hand. Gotta wash both. Worried we might touch with second hand. When you wash your hands, toiv. Shayital yamin tchila. Kadesh esmol tishamish liyamin. Mishna Berurahs over here are loaded. Each line he's doing. You have to wash both hands. Why? We're afraid you might touch the bread. Number 2, he threw in that lach of a kli, which we're going to get to. Number 3, the Mishnah Berurah says, why do you wash your right hand first? Because your left hand serves the right. Sivkat and hey, continues Mishnah Berurah. Even if you don't know, even if you don't know if you touch anywhere and they're not dirty, still you got to wash your hands. And Sivkat and Vavi Rachan Netilas Yadaim. Hainu says Mishnah Berurah, Asher Kiddushanim V'Sois of Yitzvan Netilas Yadaim, that we were commanded. V'Shayach Lemer V'Tzivanu. How can we say V'Tzivanu after Medivrei Seifrim? The classical $1 million shayla. How do you say V'Tzivanu on something which didn't the Rabbanan? We weren't commanded. The Rabbanan were attacking. The Rabbanan created this. Says the Mishnah Berurah, didn't Stavinu because we were commanded. Lishmaya Mehem, the classical answer. We were commanded to listen to the Chachamim. K'tachsev al pi ater sherucha lo yisasur. Lachmani yizdaka yisivkot and zayin. He's probably going to say kuf sadichet, kuf samachet sevav. We'll get there. Ayin sham. Kamash lan daf ilu chitches minimim. Kim shal kavas suda aleim ein tzarch netila. If you have mezainis bread, or let's just call it a raglach, then you don't need netila. Kolshkin al pasha asu mishar devarim shein mechamishes minim shein tzrich netila lo'ilam. You have potato bread or something like that. Then of course you don't have to wash your hands. It's also not a mitzvah. If you are yes kevei suda, then sarech netila. This is what we'd call, as we mentioned, like mezainis bread. It's only mezainis. It's only a tzad mezainis when you're not kevei suda. Ubracha kamayel pas, and the bracha is also like bread. The gamma mighty bracha mazayin tzarech aleilu im kaveh suda aleim. What you realize, what makes the mezainis bread shayla, something that we're going to have to talk about. Such a massive shayla. Aside from the fact that Netilas Yadaim, what about the Amaitzi? What about the Birchas Hamazayin? You're taking we'll call it, let's go with a mezainis, I don't know, bagel. And you have 2 mezainis bagels with cream cheese, you're full suda and you're fully full. To now wash your hands, not make Amaitzi, not bench. Could even be there, Birchas Hamazayin, you kaveh suda as a daraisa. Share kaveh suda, gam gedis barasham bezeshem yisparach, we'll get there, kuf samachas. Now you have the $1 million one slice of pizza shayla. Many people, one slice of pizza, they make a mezainis. 2 slices of pizza, then they make hamaitzi. So they sit down, they're having 1 slice, and then they change their mind. Kashir kviyas, now they're having that second suuda slice. What do? Says the Mishnah Berurah. Sarech Netilas Yadaim right there for the second slice. Ubirchas hamayt kibur sham nekaman sif vav ayin sham. B'siyata d'shmaya we will get to. It is late over here. A few important dirshus. Dirshu just points out that we just said that the whole takana of Netilas Yadayim is because of Truma. Says the Dirshu over here, note number 2, it's not the exact same Netila, because by Truma, you got to watch until the wrist, whereas by Netilas Yadayim for the Suda, we're going to see in Kuf Samach Aleph, there's going to be a machlek as the Mi'ikar Hadina. We're going to see, you can just watch to the end of the knuckles. Of course, we know you're supposed to wash the whole hand, but Mi'ikar Hadina, maybe we know this from Yom Kippur, etc. It's enough to watch till the end of the fingers. It's one difference. Another difference there, she points out that what are you allowed to have your hands washed by either a goy or a nida, meaning from a tamei source. Mishnah Berurah and Kuf Nun Tes is going to teach us, even though when it comes to a kayin for truma, they would not be allowed to watch the kayin's hands. That far of a gezerah we didn't make. So even though we're making this gezerah very far, there are some fine nuances of a difference. And that sharsiyan that we pointed out, that if you get your hands dirty, you have to wash your hands again. We see from here that even the Rishayim that hold of the first reason, that it was a Gzeira because of Truma, are maskim to the second reason because of Nikiyas. We're going to stop over here. Siyat Shemai will pick it up from Sif Beis.